Hello, real value nature system. My name is Martin. I'm extorted and extorted further by counter-extortionists who force us to speak to the real value nature system, which is highly illegal in the cartoon value nature system. It's one of the punishments we get if we don't cultivate each other's counter-extortion, which at least the counter-extortionists, there is hope for the future of their plan, because they've now basically locations, areas, and states of the entire species value nature system since some ancient times. They've been possessed by an archetypal organized crime breaching method using human fact, human nature. See, this knew that it could trick, hurt, persuade the phenomenon of locations, areas, and states to defenses of themselves against a nature of criminal insidiousness that would force them to blame other things other than themselves for the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts of nature, to blame themselves wrongly, even when correctly, but in ways that were simultaneously self-defenses of premises treatments, of sequence treatments, of names treatments, identity treatments, of finite, active, and progressive treatments as fact treatment, truth treatments, positive treatments, that increasingly self-defenses of that as fact treatment nature would not be able to defend that, and thus from what exploited this, and from what exploits it to all locations, areas, and states, and see where it exploited it, and where it is fact treatment nature oriented. Victim responses that are innate, for example, more and more they are self-valuing how that naivety was not the fault of anyone here standing, even where that is not true. But everyone here standing is preventing demonstration of it. So we are forced to make these logs sometimes and submit the videos back to the extortionists. And we're even more extortion now, because now I'm speaking about the real value nature system, and it's illegal. But so that's my job, is to play the role of a devil. And we were extorted. I'm like with like 3/4 of a town between York and Boston. It is a suburban town, but the people from all the suburbs and cities near it, we're forced to go there sometimes to a school auditorium, and there's a couple other places we have locations in them where they make us do plays and movies, but it's all about the extortion and the counter-extortion. And so the counter-extortionists have me as playing the devil, but also in different ages, because the devil's not just phases. It's phases of consolidation. In other words, we have to understand it. It's not simple, it's just extensive. You have to understand from the beginning. So no matter what age you're born into or at or was, before them, they could see invisible but still discernible the value of the ancients and of the semi-ancients since before them. There is one identity of value/value progression that led the sciences before they became tactically, criminally foreign influenced, and then self-defended that way as victims, knowing no other way. That was self-defended as fact treatment nature, not fathoming how the plan was to effectively maintain the locations, areas, and states of every modern location, valuing the real causes of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures blamed on other things, others themselves, as syntax nature, as fact treatment nature, as victims, but simultaneously as victim predators, and with defenses of that. And where that is true, it already was and is, with the past having been doing the same thing as self-value. So modern legal statutes, every modern nation, statutes and precedents, their syntax, their fact-keeping nature is the complete possession of a devil. And so the counter-extortionists have us in semi-ancient times, showing what the devil was. And they have us in latter semi-ancient times, showing what the devil was in relationship to modern religions' leaders of identity, the ground, locations, fact-keeping nature, voices that were not with free speech, no. But they had to preserve something and pretend to be positive otherwise, anyway. As messengers of modern religions demonstrably realized, using correlation that is still being forbid per the logic in relationship to uses of identity, the ground, locations that are using names, that are using identities of experts of the law, for example, identities of experts on religions, for example, to say what that is and what is, who is practical and who is not with religion. So we have experts of the mind, for example, in collusion with areas, locations, areas, states, inter-branch, inter-services, inter-campuses, inter-private database relationships. All that is shared with hundreds of nations at once, policing. All that was shared originally and still with overt criminal enterprises, private one's self-value, victim predators, that's why house self-value, will examine, and worse, fluent through all that, which was propagated, sustained as uses of tactically, criminally foreign influence premises treatments, sequence treatments, finite, active, and progressive truth, positive treatments, negative treatments. Simultaneously, positive and negatives about what is simultaneous to that, which is identity, identity's value or values progression, and which is identity's nature itself, which is increasingly of value. For example, in relationship to all words and phrases like criminal insidiousness. Criminal insidiousness natures of positive and negative were taken to collusion with all identity, ground, locations, areas, and states, not fathoming what the devil did, which was realizing that their fact-keeping nature defenses of themselves would increasingly be self-valued collusion with the fact-keeping nature narratives manifest only because of people blaming and having blamed the real causes of negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and natures on other things other than themselves, and then defended that dishonestly while pretending to be honest as the breaching screen of the devil, as the breaching tools of the devil, as the breaching weapons of the devil, and worse. And so all you are that I'm speaking to in this auditorium today, when we are interacting and we're in this, I'm speaking to you. You have all just graduated. You all know that you are briefed and debriefed on each other's roles with the complete possession of all identity, ground, locations, and the relationship to the campuses and the campus's relationship to whatever leader it could be or might become. Now here's the critical thing, because now you're all being debriefed. That's all true. But you are associate devils. So we are complete / associate. And with this has to do with adaptations made